Hey guys, Nick here from Xtreme Training Academy. I'm here with my dear friend Carlos Flores. Thanks for coming out, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Carlos is going to be teaching at the Warriors Weekend on March 1 and March 2. We're very excited to have him. I've known Carlos for a very long time, like 2001, 2002 is when I first met Carlos. He was a JKD brother of mine back in the days, and kind of evolved into the Dog Brothers martial arts, right?
Yes, sir.
Before we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I'm a father of three. I have a 6-year-old. I have twins that are 3. I want to personally thank my wife for supporting me in all of these adventures. So that's that. In regards to the martial arts, I started in Taekwondo at the age of 23. I was a late starter. Before that, I got involved in kickboxing. A buddy of mine kind of introduced me to that. I did a little bit of boxing. This was all informal. Nobody knows this, but I actually learned street ninjutsu. So I grew up on 26th Street in Chicago, and I learned how to use stealth, how to be fast, how to be silent, and to be a shadow in order to survive in that neighborhood. Nobody knows this. Now Facebook land knows it. Yeah. So there it is.
So if you woke up with shuriken and throwing stars in my door, that was probably you.
It was probably me. It was probably me. So all right. So from Taekwondo, I had the blessing of having an instructor there who was open to not just doing Taekwondo, but he also did kickboxing. He did Hapkido. He did introduce me a little bit to some Kali sticks. But really, I didn't begin to evolve until I got into Jeet Kune Do. And Jeet Kune Do just kind of opened my eyes to a different reality. Prior to Jeet Kune Do, I wasn't really familiar with the ground. And that was a whole new world for me. So in Jeet Kune Do, I saw what my strengths were at, where my weaknesses are at. And then, I started to evolve from there into getting into weapons. I ended up doing another form of Kali with traditional jiu-jitsu. It didn't really work for me. As my journey was progressing within the martial arts, it really wasn't where I was supposed to be at. So I went back to JKD. From there, I finally got into Dog Brother martial arts. And again, the whole concept of JKD, Dog Brother martial arts, has that. Dog Brothers martial arts is a system of systems. They went ahead and they borrowed from different Kali systems, put it together, and then they tested it. And they continue to do that, which is the beautiful thing about the Dog Brothers martial arts. Guru Mark Denny continues to evolve the system even today. I've had the privilege of training with him, hanging out with him, having conversation with him, and he's always thinking of new things, and he shares that, and he'll test it. We become his guinea pigs, and he tests it, and sure enough, we get ready for fights, and we go ahead and we prove that it's valid. Yeah. What he comes up with is valid. So that's where I'm at now. I continue to evolve though. Yes, my background right now, I consider JKD to be a solid foundation for me, as well as the Dog Brother martial arts. But I'm always looking to continue learning. I'm always a student.
Perpetual student.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. I'm a student of martial arts, but I'm also a student of life, and that's important. And we need to always adapt.
Martial arts has always been that, right? It's a way of introspective, and it's a way of self-evolution and self-discovery. I mean, that's been like the journey for so many of us. At least those who really took what we learned to heart.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so the Dog Brother martial arts. A lot of people don't know much about it, and if you guys YouTube some of the old school stuff from Dog Brothers martial arts, it will scare you. These guys are out there with all this training gear on, and they're beating the hell out of each other with these rattan sticks and stuff. So when I first saw Dog Brothers martial arts, this is like in the late 90s, okay, by a video, I said, I don't know if I want to do that, man. I got a job tomorrow. But the more I got exposed to it, it wasn't very much that. First and foremost, there was this brotherhood to it, right, this camaraderie. Secondly, there was a lot of training method to it, so it wasn't just get out there and spar. That was like the end result. Let's train and learn a bunch of information, employ a bunch of training methods, and then pressure test, which is a huge thing for me personally, right? At least in my ballistic JKD, my brand, and everything else that we do. And I think the guys that we have attending this are all pressure tested type of people, right? So tell us a little bit more about Dog Brothers martial arts. We were talking a little bit ago, and you said, man, it's got like these 3 sections to it, these 3 categories.
Yes, sir.
and this philosophy to it. So give me a little bit of background on the DBMA stuff.
Sure. So Dog Brothers Martial Arts it has three components. You have the real contact stick fighting, then you have the Kali Tudo, and then you have the DLO, which is a die less often material. So the real contact stick fighting is weapon fighting. The Kali Tudo is the Kali that transfers over from the weapon fighting into MMA. So this is stuff, and it's being tested right now within the cage. We have an excellent fighter right now who's doing the Kali Tudo
Sure.
within the MMA. So from there, we go into the DLO, which is the die less often material, which is more of the self-preservation, LEO information that's out there.
Yeah.
So it's three components. Now, in regards to those being three categories, everything that you do in each category, there's consistency across categories.
Right.
So what you do with your double stick, you do with your empty hands, and then you do within the DLO, within the self-preservation.
Yeah, sweet. Something that's kind of interesting to me about the Dog Brothers Martial Arts also, for those of you guys who know me, a couple years ago we hosted this event called Beat the Crap Out of Cancer. Beat Kook is kind of like the short version of it. Carlos was the gentleman that actually brought that to our table. That's a program from the Dog Brothers Martial Arts. That's from like Mark Denny and the guys, correct?
There's two gentlemen that came up with Beat the Crap Out of Cancer. A gentleman by Renee, in the name of Renee, and unfortunately I don't remember the other gentleman, but they're out in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. So they began this idea, this let's do something, give back to the community, as well as continue with the brotherhood and just bring people together. So Beat the Crap Out of Cancer at this point is done in Canada, it's done in California, it's done in Illinois, if I'm not mistaken too, it's done in Europe. But it's all done on the same day. We all agree on hey, we're gonna get together, let's raise some money and beat the crap out of cancer, and push each other.
Yeah.
We never break each other. That's the whole idea, the misconception of, psychopaths, sweaty psychopaths with sticks. We're more than that, maybe we're a little bit of that, but we're more than that.
Right.
And Beat the Crap Out of Cancer is such a beautiful event, and thank you for allowing us to do
man,
that.
that was awesome to have.
It was
Even with
great.
Pete going through the wall.
Yeah, he went through the wall, and I think he was able to come back and take care of that.
Yeah, we took care of it. It's all good. So it was our pleasure.
But you touch on the brotherhood, and without not saying that there aren't women involved, because there are women involved in this event and in the Dog Brothers Martial Arts, but it's such a unifying force. To quote a movie, you don't really know someone until you fight them, and that is so true. And when you go to these gatherings, and I've had the privilege of attending a few of those gatherings, it's 2 minutes of violence. An event like this, but you go to your opponent, and it's not even him being an opponent. It's just someone that accepts your fight. It's like a dance.
Sure.
You kind of discuss, what do we agree on, or do we go to the ground? Do we not? What kind of weapon do we use? And you go for 2 minutes. You put it all on the line, but afterwards, it's like, hey man, great job.
Right.
You hug each other. You feel that respect, and it's such an amazing feeling when you do a gathering. Stick fighting is not for everyone. Let's understand that.
Right.
It's been criticized. It's okay. I guess any publicity is good publicity.
That's right.
but the gatherings, when you do it, the first time I did it, it was such a zen moment for me, where my first stick fight, and I know there's always the chance that I'm going to get hurt, or I know there's the chance that I might hurt the other guy. We don't try to send each other to the hospital. Obviously, the danger is very real.
Yeah.
But I remember my first fight, and I'm fighting this gentleman, and when we were backed away from each other, we had a nice, long, safe range. It was like time was so slow. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm moving my stick, and I'm like, oh man, 2 minutes, that's a long time, right? And then when you engage, it's like, bah, 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 bah. All of a sudden, time just sped up. I mean, it was just an amazing feeling. And even after that, you go back and you do more fights. I've done it for 3 years already over there in California. And it's great because you're out of your comfort zone. I've done different weapons. I think the chain fight that I had,
fight,
that was
whips.
my gateway drug, because the next year after that, I ended up doing a whip fight,
Yep.
and I did a staff fight as well as double sticks. You do aluminum knife fighting, and it's just every year you learn something about yourself. You know, the first time that I went out there, I have to really build myself up. That adrenaline, you know, and it's like, you know, I'm not gonna get hurt. I'm not gonna get hurt. And you're out there, and there's just this crazy adrenaline, and you have the chatter, and it's like, did I prepare enough for it? Am I ready? And once you're in the middle, in the center, and it's just you and the other individual, all that is gone, and the switch comes on. And the years after that, you know, where you just kind of get angry.
Yeah.
I use that. The years after, it's different now for me. It's no longer, you know, a fight. It's more of me playing.
Right.
You know, so you fight. It's a way of playing now.
Sure.
And your mind just expands. You're in such a Zen moment, and you realize that things will work and some things will not, or some things will work for certain individuals, and then it will work for the other. So you have to adapt, which is very JKD.
Right.
Very JKD.
Absolutely.
And there's grappling. There's all kinds of ranges.
Yeah,
There's
I've
7
seen
ranges
that,
in the Dog Brothers. You know, the grappling comes from the Machado brothers.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Guru Mark Denny trained with them for a while and is still with them, and right now he's also exploring MMA. So yeah, again, it's always evolving.
So you're taking from this experience, give us a brief outline, or at least a kind of an intro, a 30,000 foot view for what we'll be seeing at the Warriors Weekend from the Dog Brothers stuff that you're going to be teaching.
Sure. Well, for the material that I'm going to be showing on that day, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the Dos Triquis formula. And the Dos Triquis formula is all double stick. It's a nice footwork formula that, again, it's consistency across all categories. You know, the angles that you're working with the sticks, you should be able to do it in the Kali Tudo, you should be able to do it in the DLO, as well as the hand techniques. Yeah, there's a bit of modification as you go from one category to the other, but the footwork formula, the Dos Triquis formula, it's there. It's easy once you practice it, you get to it, boom, 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 you do your repetitions as with anything else. You're going to learn what kind of, how the formula will work against certain opponents.
Right.
When you look for that certain feed that they're giving you. And again, you test it out at a gathering and an actual fight, the adrenaline is there, but the more reps that you put in your training, you fight how you train.
Sure, absolutely. It becomes systematic for you. That's a
Absolutely.
response, and that's, you know, one of the things that I want to make sure that we do. At least this is our method of teaching here, and I share the same sentiment with all the guys that are teaching. Is if you learn something today, you should be able to at least apply it today. You know, often you go to these seminars, you'll do an hour, 2 hour, a whole day of a bunch of stuff, and you won't remember not 2 seconds of it. But you know, like I think that it's pretty fair to say that after talking to everybody, this is going to change people's games. You know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely.
And that's what we're looking forward to. So, March 1, March 2, man, how do you feel about it?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
You know, again, thank you for putting this
Oh,
together.
no, man, it's my pleasure.
Thank you for asking me to be a part of this. I'm super excited because I'm going to get a chance to see Wing Chun. I'm going to get a chance to do BJJ, which, you know, I still need to work on, but shh, don't tell
That's our
anybody.
secret.
Facebook land. Please don't tell nobody. I'm working on it. So that's going to be awesome. And then the PTK,
Yeah.
my buddy Paul, you know,
That's right.
there's PTK within DBMA. So that's great to see that, you know, I guess the mother system, be able to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Your JKD.
Yes.
You know, so if you're not here, obviously you're somewhere else, but you need to be here. What are you going to wait for?
I don't want you. Don't threaten them, man.
This is history. This is history.
This
in
is
the
martial
making.
arts history, because I've never seen an event like this.
Chicagoland instructors coming together,
Yeah.
forming a community, not just for us, but for you.
For you guys, absolutely.
For you to, you know, to participate, be a part of history, take a chance. You know, if money's tight, we understand, life gets in the way, but how are you going to miss being a part of history? That doesn't make sense.
That's right. Absolutely. I'm with you. All right, guys. So that's Carlos Flores from Dog Brothers Martial Arts. He's going to be here on March 1 and March 2 for the Warriors Weekend. Don't miss out, Carlos. Thank you very much for coming out, brother. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Dude.
Stereotypical
Why so
as
sad?
it was. Why so serious? They typecasted me as a jail guy. So I had the orange jumpsuit.
Well, they do know you then.
Yeah, I don't know how did they guys. You're a lucky motherfucker. He tells me, it's like, you want to go? You go ahead, you and you. Go ahead, guys.
Or some beard.
Oh,
shit!